But it's very great for you all to come like this. You should come, otherwise, I don't think anything will really give you strength and some knowledge and strength and some experience to face life. And you can then only really enjoy life. With that knowledge, not just, I don't think any other education or anything that will help you all. So, what about your reading? Did you manage to? Uh, you look. I don't want to say like this. Sometimes I'm a little naughty. I want to tell she looks handsome, but but it only suits for men, right? Handsome. Sorry. Please put that on because no. Yeah. You better put that on. Very happy to see you even like this coming. She's been a warrior. Hmm? Very good. I'm very happy. I can see that you all are very special people, special beings, all of you. And I'm so happy I was able to come like this, to tell you honestly. And it gives me a lot of, I told you, now I can actually close my eyes very easily. At least I wish, well, more if I can live, then I will do things. But um, some of my inner wishes have just fulfilled to some extent. There's no end also. But what about your reading? Did you manage to, like today, complete the Salayatana Vagga? You um, you read just did you get to know about the Salayatana? I don't know. Yesterday I did it. I don't know whether you was there. Okay. At the end of Salayatana Vagga, no? That number? Check. Yeah, Samyutta Nikaya, which one? Samyutta Nikaya, which is Salayatana, 6 sense bases. Is it about the eye, ear, nose, tongue, always? Okay. Did you manage? Did you finish? All of you, how was it? Did you manage to, like, by now, today? I also didn't come, you didn't hear my talk, so you were able to just be with the Buddha. Which is better, be with the Buddha or meeting this mm, worldly monk? But did you complete? I hope you all completed. Did you? Hmm? Who couldn't complete, can they raise their hand? Okay, you're not a reader like me. Okay. Is it close to that page or close to? Then it's okay, don't worry. It's not like some kind of, what to do because I am trying, I'm forcing her to read that much to make sure that in case means it's not easy to get those insight, from that. We don't know. It might be today, tomorrow, another day, but you have already, put your direction in that direction to experience this. But even if that does not happen, I am very sure you're taking something very much, like I can see your auras, or I can see means I'm feeling okay. I don't believe this seeing things. So, but I look at you all. I'm sure that you'll be noticed when you people who they will notice that. Rather than talking to them so much, trying to convince them, but you have benefited. That will be the best way to create the faith in anybody. Okay, very nice, very good. I'm very happy. I'm getting good karma. So I hope that will be transferred to whoever has helped me to do all these things, the human world as well as the unseen world. I'm very grateful to all of them. Very, very. Sometimes when I'm going to the programs, I really thank, like I'm nearing the programs. Suddenly, I'm just really thanking the universe giving me chance to do this because I see it's very interesting. I'm sure you all too. Some of you, maybe you'll notice. It's like a very big divine battle, and you can see that there. I don't know how to share this, but even people who are dropping me and like taking to the programs, like the I'm not very psychic, like, but I'm feeling, but who are around me are very psychic. So they notice things, but I can reason out and think it's correct, with reason. That's how I can know. If I'm psychic, I'll be seeing too many things. Luckily, I'm not. So then I remember the Gaul program. It's like in Sri Lanka. Is when I was leaving. This my uh, person who drives normally. He was actually going. He had free time, and he also wanted to take part in the program. So he joined. There's a different gentleman who was driving. So when he also came, and I know they are somehow connected with some kind of divine connection is there in them. That's why they are supporting me or coming around me. And that particular god or that deity, that is I know that he also believes, and I know he had that vision of that particular deity in the hall roaming about. And it's like a very powerful, like going in. And he was telling, like, just after the program, just circling and just manifesting and going like that. So I could imagine, yes. Oh, that lady was telling something to that day, she was getting some smell, and good things have been done. So good things will be attracted towards detachment, towards also compassion, and as well as wisdom and detachment. So losing your ego and everything. So definitely that's a very tremendous positive, energy, and things will come to you automatically. You don't have to sort of call upon things; they will be there around, just for encouragement. Morning meditation is also a good opportunity for you to get more. And then your whole day, whole time. So I have covered everything, but only now the last one. I don't know whether we have this here, the Gilan, Gilanyas Sutta. Thus have I heard on one occasion the Blessed One was living at Savatthi Jetagrove, Anatta Pindika's park. Then Mahaprajapati Gotami, together with 500 bhikkhunis, went to the Blessed One. After paying homage to the Blessed One, she stood at one side and said to him, Venerable Sir, let the Blessed One advise the bhikkhunis, let the Blessed One instruct the bhikkhunis, let the Blessed One give the bhikkhunis a talk on the Dhamma. Now, on that occasion, the elder bhikkhus were taking turns in advising the bhikkhunis. But the Venerable Nandaka did not want to advise them when his turn came. Then the Blessed One addressed the Venerable Ananda. Ananda, whose turn is it today to advise the bhikkhunis? Venerable Sir, it is the Venerable Nandaka's turn to advise the bhikkhunis, but he does not want to advise them, even though it is his turn. Then the Blessed One addressed the Venerable Nandaka. Advise the bhikkhunis, Nandaka. Instruct the bhikkhunis, Nandaka. Give the bhikkhunis a talk on the Dhamma, Brahmin. Yes, Venerable Sir, the Venerable Nandaka replied then. Then in the morning, the Venerable Nandaka dressed and taking his bowl and outer robe went into Savatthi for alms. When he had wandered for alms in Savatthi and had returned from his alms round, after his meal he went with the companion to the Rajaka park. The bhikkhunis saw the Venerable Nandaka coming in the distance and prepared a seat and set out water for the feet. The Venerable Nandaka sat down on the seat made ready and washed his feet. The bhikkhunis paid homage to him and sat down at one side. When they were seated, the Venerable Nandaka told the bhikkhunis, Sisters, this talk will be in the form of questions. When you understand, you should say, We understand. When you do not understand, you should say, We do not understand. When you are doubtful or perplexed, you should ask me, How is this, Venerable Sir? What is the meaning of this? Venerable Sir, we are satisfied and pleased with the Master Nandaka in that he invites us even with this much. Sisters, what do you think? Is the I permanent or impermanent? Impermanent, Venerable Sir. Is what is impermanent suffering or happiness? Suffering, Venerable Sir. Is what is impermanent suffering and subject to change fit to be regarded thus? This is mine, this I am, this myself? No, Venerable Sir. Sisters, what do you think? Is the ear, the nose, the tongue, the body, the mind permanent or impermanent? Impermanent, Venerable Sir. Is what is impermanent suffering or happiness? Suffering, Venerable Sir. Is what is impermanent suffering and subject to change fit to be regarded thus? This is mine, this I am, this myself? No, Venerable Sir. Why is that? Because, Venerable Sir, we have already seen this well as it actually is with proper wisdom thus. These six internal bases are impermanent. Good sisters, so it is with noble disciple who sees this as it actually is with proper wisdom. Sisters, what do you think? Are forms, sounds, odors, flavors, tangibles, mind objects permanent or impermanent? Impermanent, Venerable Sir. Is what is impermanent suffering or happiness? Suffering or happiness? Suffering, Venerable Sir. Is what is impermanent suffering and subject to change fit to be regarded thus? This is mine, this I am, this is myself? No, Venerable Sir. Why is that? Because, Venerable Sir, we have already seen this well as it actually is with proper wisdom. Thus, these six external bases are impermanent. Good sisters, so it is with the noble disciple who sees this as it actually is with proper wisdom. Sisters, what do you think? Is eye consciousness, ear consciousness, nose consciousness, tongue consciousness, body consciousness, mind consciousness permanent or impermanent? Impermanent, Venerable Sir. Is what is impermanent suffering or happiness? Suffering, Venerable Sir. Is what is impermanent suffering? This should guide your mind, you should be following that. Hmm. This is too fast, I'm reading, but this is to be slowly. Your mind should make a note, like consciousness, like this is changing. Each contemplation it should be done more slowly, very much slowly, contemplating. Suffering, Venerable, is what is impermanent suffering and subject to change, fit to be regarded thus. This mine, this I am, this is myself. No, Venerable Sir. Why is that? Because, Venerable Sir, we have already seen this well as it actually is with proper wisdom thus. These six classes of consciousness are impermanent. Good sisters, so it is with noble disciple who sees this as it actually is with proper wisdom. Sisters, suppose an oil lamp is burning. Its oil is impermanent and subject to change. Its wick is impermanent and subject to change. Its flame is impermanent and subject to change. And its radiance is impermanent and subject to change. Now, would anyone be speaking rightly who spoke thus? While this oil lamp is burning, its oil, wick, and flames are impermanent and subject to change, but its radiance is permanent, everlasting, eternal, not subject to change. You get this? It's again looking, a certain way of looking. The internal sense organs, that is eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, and the external sense organs. So our consciousness depends on these two. Therefore, when this is definitely bound to be impermanent, when you have contemplated that, it's like this, the wick and the oil, so on. This, so the light and the radiance all depend on that. So when it depends on something that is impermanent, can it be permanent? Okay, this way of contemplating is very important. In all these suttas, Buddha gives this to attain the actual insight. While this oil lamp is burning, its oil, wick, and flames are impermanent and subject to change, but its radiance is permanent, everlasting, eternal, not subject to change. No, Venerable Sir. Why is that? Because, Venerable Sir, that's how you see now this experience also. What does this experience that you're now seeing and hearing is based on? With an eye, okay, and the object. So now already inwardly you have thought about this, that this I and these objects are things that are bound to change, bound to perish. Then inwardly you have, when you have had a clear insight, if you have developed that, then you have an idea this experience is bound to finish. And if there's something pleasing in this experience, you will not be attached. If there's something unpleasant here, you will not be worried about it too. Hmm? So this is how, otherwise you can wait until this situation changes and see that this is impermanent. This is very not very strong way of seeing impermanent or contemplating impermanence. Okay, this is very important. Now, Venerable Sir, why is that? Because Venerable Sir, while that oil lamp is burning, its oil wick and flames are impermanent and subject to change. So its radiance must be impermanent and subject to change. So, too, sisters, would anyone be speaking rightly who spoke thus? These six internal bases are impermanent and subject to change. But the pleasant, painful, or neither painful nor pleasant feeling that one experiences in dependence upon the six internal bases is permanent, everlasting, eternal, and not subject to change. No Venerable Sir, why is that? Because each feeling arises in dependence upon its corresponding condition, and with the cessation of its corresponding condition, the feeling ceases. Good sisters, so it is with noble disciple who sees this as it actually is with proper wisdom. Sisters, suppose a great tree standing, possessed of heartwood. Its root is impermanent and subject to change. Its trunk is impermanent and subject to change. Its branches and foliage are impermanent and subject to change. And its shadow is impermanent and subject to change. Now, would anyone be speaking rightly who spoke thus? The root, trunk, branches, and foliage of this great tree, standing possessed of heartwood, are impermanent and subject to change, but its shadow is permanent, everlasting, eternal, not subject to change. No, Venerable Sir. Why is that? Because, Venerable Sir, the root, trunk, branches, and foliage of this great tree, standing possessed of heartwood, are impermanent and subject to change. So its shadow must be impermanent and subject to change. So, too, sisters, would anyone be speaking rightly who spoke thus? These six external bases are impermanent and subject to change, but the pleasant, painful, or neither painful nor pleasant feeling that one experiences in dependence upon the six external bases is permanent, everlasting, eternal, not subject to change. No, Venerable Sir. Why is that? Because each feeling arises independent upon its corresponding condition, and with the cessation of its corresponding condition, the feeling ceases. Good sisters, so it is with noble disciple who sees this as it actually is with proper wisdom. Sisters, suppose a skilled butcher or his apprentice were to kill a cow and carve it up with a sharp butcher's knife without damaging the inner mass of flesh and without damaging the outer hide. He would cut severe and carve away the inner tendons, sinews, and ligaments with the sharp butcher's knife. Then, having cut, severed, and carved all this way, he would remove the outer hide and cover the cow again with the same hide. Would he be speaking rightly if he were to say, this cow is joined to this hide just as it was before? Don't look at the next part. What do you think? Maybe no, not maybe. You shouldn't have understood what already was spoken. Definitely not. Okay, okay, okay. I hope that you understand. No, Venerable Sir. Otherwise, you just read the word only, no? Right? No, Venerable Sir. Why is that? Because if that skilled butcher or his apprentice were to kill a cow and cut severe and carve all that away, even though he covers the cow again with that same hide and says, this cow is joined to his this hide just as it was before, that cow would still be disjoined from that hide. Sisters, I have given this simile in order to convey a meaning. This is the meaning. The inner mass of flesh is a term for the six internal bases. The outer hide is a term for the six external bases. The inner tendons, sinews, and ligaments is a term for the delight and lust. That's very interesting. The sharp butcher's knife is a term for noble wisdom. The noble wisdom that cuts, severes and carves away the inner defilements, fetters, and bonds. Sister, there are these seven enlightened factors through the development and cultivation of which a bhikkhu, by realizing for himself with direct knowledge, here and now enters upon and abides in the deliverance of mind and deliverance by wisdom. That are taintless. With the destruction of the taints, what are the seven? Here, sisters, bhikkhu develops the mindful enlightened factor, which is supported by seclusion, dispassion, cessation, and ripens in relinquishment. He develops the investigation of states enlightened factor. Means Dhamma Vijay is called, it's not easy to give an English word for this. Dhamma Vijay means now, even in the before, right? Okay. When you're analyzing, like, the consciousness is going to be impermanent, like, because it depends on that. That very exercise is part of it. Hmm? When you are trying to analyze and like this, that is already you're practicing. What is that called? Investigation. How it's written? Investigation of states and enlightenment factor. When it's written like that, it doesn't make much sense actually. It's a Dhamma Vijaya means analyzing. Hmm? States and the energy enlightenment factor means you're trying to keep that attention contemplating continuously. Okay, when you're trying to, now you want to little bit think about it and then just go for something else, then your energy is not there. Energy means you're sustaining that contemplation, you're keeping that contemplation going. Then if you properly do it, the energy enlightenment, then the rapture enlightenment, there you might, because of level of detachment you experience, you might experience a very extraordinary some kind of blissfulness. Okay, and that will bring you very tranquil, tranquil. Your body will also get tranquil, and that will create concentration. Samadhi all follows automatically. So normally when you're reading the suttas, if you're properly doing that, you will get those, like very subtle experiences in your mind. You will see the Dhamma, you will analyze the teaching, and then you will feel very comfortable with it, and then you let go that, you feel lightness. Then you might close the book and just experience that also. That can, you can do that. I used to do when I was a young boy those days, very much, that you grasp that thought and then contemplate it and you let go, and then you immediately get a kind of a blissfulness, and then you close the book for some time. So your mind, gets really come, that's a very solid good way. So based on panya, wisdom, which is supported by seclusion, dispassion. Now I'm driven by samadhi side. That's the problem. I'm now trying to bring it back. My old period now it's coming back, my young period. These are the seven factors of enlightenment, which a bhikkhu, by realizing for himself with direct knowledge here and now, enters upon, abides in the deliverance of mind and deliverance by wisdom, that are taintless with the destruction of the taints. And this is very interesting data also. This whole sutta is very, very interesting. It will give you some answers for what you have been doing all these days also. When the Venerable Nandaka had advised the bhikkhunis thus, he dismissed them, saying, "Go, sisters, it is time." Then the bhikkhunis, having delighted, rejoiced in the Venerable Nandaka's words, rose from their seats, and after paying homage to the Venerable Nandaka, departed, keeping him on their right. They went to the Blessed One, and after paying homage to him, stood at one side. The Blessed One told them, "Go, sisters, it is time." Then Bhikkhunis paid homage to the Blessed One and departed, keeping him on their right. Soon after they had left, the Blessed One addressed the bhikkhus. Bhikkhus, just as on the Uposatha day of the 14th, people are not doubtful or perplexed as to whether the moon is incomplete or full. Since then the moon is clearly incomplete. So too those bhikkhunis are satisfied with Nandaka's teachings of the Dhamma, but their intentions has not yet been fulfilled. So they were not completely, this we will get the answer. Then the Blessed One addressed the Venerable Nandaka. Well then, Nandaka, tomorrow too you should advise those bhikkhunis in exactly the same way. So Buddha advised Nandaka the Arahant to repeat this discourse again. That's very interesting. Yes, Venerable sir. The Venerable Nandaka replied. Then the next morning, the Venerable Nandaka dressed and same thing repeated. Then the bhikkhunis paid homage to the Blessed One and departed, keeping him on their right. That is the second time they come in after the discourse is finished. Soon after they had left, the Blessed One addressed the bhikkhus. Bhikkhu, just as on the Uposatha day of the 14th, people are not doubtful or perplexed as to whether the moon is incomplete or full. Since then the moon is clearly full, so too bhikkhus, those bhikkhunis are satisfied with Nandaka's teaching of the Dhamma, and their intentions had been fulfilled. Because even the least advanced of those 500 bhikkhunis is a stream enterer, no longer subject to perdition or bound for deliverance, headed for enlightenment. Yes, just imagine, the last, like Buddha when he was parinirvana too. Uh, Even that time he asked questions from the congregation, and then no one was asking any question. Then Ananda said, "Oh, very nice, very good," then the Buddha said, "Ananda, you are telling out of faith, but I can see all of their minds and their state, and that even the least of these, all these monks, I mean, they are, everybody is attained at least Sotapanna, so stream entrant." So in the same case here too, all the bhikkhunis, interesting point here is that how the repetition, that's very important, interesting point too. And you have been repeating continuously. This is my teacher's idea. I have never know there were such suttas in the Buddha's teaching. Tell you honestly, when he told me to read this, I was surprised to see there are so many suttas, different, because we lay people were not accessed. We didn't have that. We have only few suttas, and this is mainly touching enlightenment. If you want to become, now he used to tell monks, when monks used to come and visit my teacher, if you want to attain the path, he used to tell you read the Kanda Salayatana Vagga. Shall we read the next one too? These are little extra suttas. Sorry, so can you repeat? It's a commentary story. You have never heard about it? No, no. There's a commentary story, not in the sutta. I have I have read the commentary story that because he was also arahant, as well as he was having psychic power. So he saw the previous lives of all the people who are taking part, the bhikkhunis. I think they have been his wives or something like that in the past. So he thought first, so he want Buddha to invite him second time. The reason is that no one will reproach him, thinking that out of some inclination he's going to teach. That's how the commentary, this kind of something like this. Have you read that? No, no. Commentary explanation is there like this, something. So for that reason, it's told like that. But I'm not sure. Maybe. That whoever had psychic power, they might doubt, oh, why he's going and teaching. Maybe that he has some attachment and so on, or maybe like this is explained something to similar. But the important thing is the repetition. This is very important. It has some it's twice repeated. So for us, maybe now 2600, so maybe we'll have to repeat 100, 200 times, and then this might happen. This will happen. It's possibility. If we are also cleaning our mind, that's important. You should go with the when you're trying to live the Dhamma also. If you're just intellectually studying and you're just not controlling your senses, you're just indulging, you don't get that preparation from the this thing for the realization to happen. It will not happen. But if you're really sincerely trying to come out of addictions and trying to be more mindful and have a regular and have an unbroken sila, slowly you must bring, like otherwise we're putting into mud and washing. This kind of thing goes on. So there we have to break that cycle. Make a steady kind of unbroken conduct and behavior and way of life. So then it builds up. Then it can explode to something. It's not easy thing. No, we are trying to liberate ourselves from um, this for endless periods. This has happened. So we have to gather all energy. I was telling some people yesterday also that we have to make sure our system is preparing for enlightenment. And then this one word might trigger, like a, like a spark put to dynamite powder. Just it will ignite with wisdom. Hmm? That's possible. You're keeping your life pure or trying to make it pure, and then you're exposing yourself to the Buddha and having refuge to him. Today I was just reflecting alone also, thinking how the Buddha said, whoever has affection at one point, because when people die, they used to go and ask the Buddha where he was reborn and all that. So one occasion there was one drunkard, he was also related to the Buddha, like he was in the Sakya clan, and when they asked what happened to him, he told he has not gone to the lower worlds. He's attained the sainthood. He was also Sotapan. So there was criticism about the Buddha, that he tells because they saw him only as a drunkard. So then the Buddha explains, in degrees. Like finally, he tells there's a tree there. Like when he was speaking, he was in the open, I guess, and then there was sultry or some one tree. He said, even if this tree has affection towards me, I will proclaim it is free from the hells and bound to reach nirvana within 7 lives. Like that, he gives that. Who has affection to me like that? Just imagine. I mean, that much. So sometimes I'm thinking, it's nice to create in people the personal connection of the Samma Sambuddha. But of course, with the teachings, you begin to get more deeply, who he is, like what he is. And that faith really increases through the teachings and experiencing the teachings. Mhm. Right, right. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You'd have been with the blessed. We can't say you could have been even with the blessed one. It's a possibility. Definitely. Otherwise, you can't be driven so much, Like I can see, I was just like now I'm reading also, I'm a little bit suddenly thoughts came to me that in an entirely different environment, for you to even be dressed like this, it has to have something very solid, something very, very like, I mean, even now in the modern days, I actually even if you see monks and they are really staying like that, you should really appreciate that in the modern time. You respect they have some big background, definitely something to stick to that and go on in that way. I mean, they look so different to all others, and of course it's different in Sri Lanka, but still even in Sri Lanka where people are getting more materialistic or whatever, and but like a place like here is a very different thing, being in but of course who have something that goes to many birds back, no doubt. It can't come in just suddenly, and you can't be going in a entire different way. It cannot happen natural way. It has some special um, something behind. So it's good. It gives peace and it will give human beings. They after they see the robe and all that, it calms. It's the sight itself is, and to know that some human being, a living being, is like that. It's also for the whole world. It's a big blessing, I think. The other way representing war, fighting, and like the kind of other power. That's interesting. Like in Asia, when you go, like like if you really do something in the spiritual way, the whole country might arise, like that potential is there where they will appreciate sacrifice, and it's there also in this, but now materialism got too much into the system. It's getting to the other places also. Otherwise, the Christian background and all that was really creating, there's agriculture and all that, many those days. With after the, what is this, industrial revolution, the whole thing, started to change more fast. We have to read a little bit. Now today, nothing much. Mainly your, I have covered the main thing. Sakya, not yet fully enlightened. I'm also something I'm getting these days very, I want to really, I'm seeing the death and the next lives, like how it's coming and what you're doing now, how it's going to. So you're not just focus on this, thinking this is a long period here. And just to see, I want to make some research, tell you honestly, that what is exactly being done here is affecting you for your next birth. We have it from the books, but I'm trying to, I hope maybe when I meet sometime later, maybe from the YouTube or anything you might hear, because then I can give a concrete encouragement, something more for you all to just spend your life. Is something, yeah. Other things I recently got something like even every person's karma is recorded and all that. They're also very interesting. And those are like olden time that lady, she can remember like somebody was telling. Yeah, like our great grandparents, they knew about these stories. They look like fairy tale, like they have a good karma, bad karma book being written and like that. Somebody's writing there. And recently, I was very, like the cycles that have been made, like certain periods. There's like an audit also, and it's presented to there's someone who, there's that process happening. So interesting. But these things give you more this thing to be very careful, to observe the rules, to be careful when you're alone, what you practice, what you're thinking. That encourages you. If you think like no one sees me, nothing happens, nothing is you're not, nothing's accounted, then you begin to not really practice the sila. This is not that you should just like imagine like a fairy tale. If you have some proof and you begin to really know it's true, that's nice, I think. Sorry. Sabbasava Sutta. No, that's a good sutta too. It's from the middle end discourses, right? It's a good one, really. Really defines what maybe. Actually, I have put the suttas mainly to do with the insights, and some just that, and then also there are some suttas I have already told verbally about the Ganaka Mugalan and all that, the gradual training, not to look at things. That is the general practice as a yogi, and that to be mindful of the present moment, going, coming, that to train that, and there are practices before sleeping to practice, and like as you get up, how to control your sleep, and then to be controlling your food. These are basic practices. You must make it permanent in your life. This is that's called Charya Dharma. Actually, very interesting. Why we are reading these things sometimes? Why we are not getting the insights? It is said that Charya Dharma is not. Charya means your conduct. This conduct and this thing is not matured enough. So it's, the example is given of hen. They have the egg, right? So the incubation, the hen sits on the warms the egg. So when it gives proper warmth, then it's a chick inside. It can come out. So same way the coming out, the breaking of the cell when it hits by beak or whatever, is the insights you can get. So it can happen only when proper warmth is given. Incubation, no, I don't know. Yeah. So, so this is the same way that warmth is what you call the practice of developing that general life, how you conduct yourself, where you're getting towards samadhi. So more you're doing that, then the chances are there. Then you reading it again, the same word, same line, it will trigger different. Then the real yoniso manasikara, wise reflection, right, will happen. Wise reflection could happen. Otherwise. Mm, yeah, wise reflection is one, very special. This wise reflection is the real key for this. So the whole thing, the Buddha, if that is lost, sasana, the main thing is lost. So we still have it. We have the instructions, but we must learn what is the real wise reflection. That is, we have to learn to develop more towards samadhi, where your mind is free from the hindrances. Then only the real Dhammanupassana, Satipatthana works. Do you think when we are reading this Satipatthana is practiced? What do you think? Not you, let's see. But do you think that we are, maybe you all have practiced in other this thing? Do you think this when you're reading this Satipatthana is practiced? Who are familiar? Yeah, how? Okay, yeah. And what part of Satipatthana maybe we are practicing here? Now we have what is this? Vedananupassana, Chittanupassana, and then Dhammanupassana to the end. Which one do you think? Dhammanupassana. And do you think in Satipatthana Sutra you have Kayanupassana first? In Kayanupassana, in every these are meditation objects too. In every this thing, why is it a Passana? It brings insight. So you will find in all this, like wherever there is samudaya anupassi viharati, vaya dhamma anupassi viharati. When it comes to the body, it comes to the vedana, it comes to chitta, it comes. So when it comes like rising and passing, and when you're contemplating that, what do you think that is? That is dhammanupassana. So for each um, part, there is dhammanupassana. Hmm? Not only the end. So the each part you have Dhammanupassana. So here actually all Dhammanupassana. So people stick to Satipatthana. That's one way, but I think this is giving a lot of possibilities, and I think quite new because it was not taken. Even as a using it is so simple. It's very simple. It's known Buddha's time. He made them all arhat by this. So we are exposed to it now, but unfortunately it was not. I don't see some few forest monks, they were relying on the suttas completely, but it doesn't come to public like this. And I wish it did, and I don't have to tire so much. So otherwise, but people will be, as I told now, I think now, if the real Buddha come, maybe no one wants to meet him or listen. Maybe they might like to see him but not to listen to him. They will have their own Buddhism. They will have their own. Listen, one monk made quite a joke one time. I had to cover this. Let's see. The great sage. This sutta was very this thing for me actually. Tell you honestly, this is the one what made me take my final decision to become a monk. Do you like to go through this? Because I was in a cave and luckily I had this sutta in a small booklet. And then I was upasaka, like your white cloth. And it's a very like a lone cave, and the main monastery is far away. So I had this small book, so I just read in the morning a little bit, and then do the walking meditation. So walking meditation is the time where you can get a lot of insights. So this is very important, I hope you all did it, and tomorrow also you have until lunch. Okay, they are not here, no, because I will maybe some okay tomorrow only until lunch. So today is a special day. Today and tomorrow also because this third, fourth day, no. So you just must try to be more strict. We read this because before my enlightenment, while I was page number 12. Sorry. Many in the Sri Lanka, the jungle, some many monks are in some monks are in jungle. Recently we had a like a retreat for all the jungle monks from coming from here and there. So they were very interested because I saw that they're in jungle, but how to practice this. So I noticed that they were looking up to me also, some of them, because there was this Jnana Deepa Pante. He was in the forest and so on. And uh, so he passed away because they all look for some idol, like, and that's not very healthy also sometimes, most of the time. It's good to be independent. This is what I saw with my teacher, he made me independent. Not only me, he make everybody and himself too, not depending on any teacher or like that, to make sure that you make Buddha your teacher. From the beginning, the time I met him, that's how our connection was. I'm very grateful to him. So sometimes, but still, we look for some kind of inspiration. But if you have some experience here, then finish. This is, you don't, we never look for anything else. So um, I remember initially when I came from Himalayas, not Himalayas, somewhere, some group of people came and group from the forest, and they wanted to, I was not ready that time. I was tired to, traveled and done so many type of meditation, and finally I had this retreat started. This was quite new. So some would look from outside, like they would say, of course, I'm still going, not to the Sri Lanka forest, but Himalayas, I'm continuing. If I get time, I will definitely go to the Sri Lanka forest too, but I don't get time now. So, but I noticed that they suddenly, they were only looking from me from out. They never tried this out. They would have thought now I have failed somewhere maybe, and then now I'm just going to the people. So they're just so much, looking from outside. But then some of the group, they are like from, they even came walking, just to pay tribute to this, walking from their forest, this thing, and they took part in the retreats again and again. So sometimes we too much stick to this outside form, unfortunately. And you see, when they meditate, maybe in the forest they're sleeping all the time. It's possible. When you look this, the internal what is happening, we don't know. So my teacher actually stressed about. He told about when I like actually the forest. I like the inspiration, the energy, and making effort like that. But once when I told about one monk who was inspiring me, he said, even animals stay in the forest. So he just made me, I'm sure he would encourage me to go to forest, but he made sure that it's not the thing itself, that you have to. So I see lay people too. You have your, duties and all that, and you make effort in that, fulfilling your duties. Then you're really evolving. Hmm? You will not fall like this or something sleep. You have that inner energy, concentration power. You'll be able to develop, harness that. But definitely you'll have to keep your and sub when you be like that and become a monk one day, you'll become a powerful monk. Because I think you have to be a good lay person practicing, and if you become a monk after that like that, then also you as a monk also you will become strong. So it's not that while you're there in your situation, you must, I think, should make effort and make sure your duties are done. And it's not that it's a robe or some place. It is that how wisely you have used your karmic situation and turn it to your, liberation. That's how it is. Then, let me read this. Okay. Because before my enlightenment, while I was still a bodhisattva, not yet fully enlightened, it occurred to me, alas, this world has fallen into trouble, in that it is born, ages, and dies. It passes away and it is reborn. Yet it does not understand the escape from this suffering, headed by aging and death. When now will an escape be discerned from this suffering, headed by aging and death? Then, because it occurred to me, when what exists does aging and death come to be? By what is aging and death conditioned? Looking backward. Then, because through careful attention, there took place in me a breakthrough by wisdom. This careful attention is Yoniso Mansikara. Okay, wise reflection. took place in me a breakthrough by wisdom. When there is birth, aging and death comes to be. Aging and death has birth as its condition. Then because it occurred to me, when what exists does birth come to be? By what is birth condition? Then because through careful attention there took place in me a breakthrough by wisdom. When there is existence, birth come to be. Birth has existence as its condition. Then because it occurred to me, when what exists does exist with when what exists does existence come to be? By what is existence condition? Then because through careful attention there took place in me a breakthrough by wisdom. When there is clinging, existence come to be. Existence has clinging as its condition. Then because it occurred to me, when what exists does clinging come to be? By what is clinging condition? Then because it through careful attention there took place in me a breakthrough by wisdom. When there is craving, clinging come to be. Clinging has craving as its condition. Then because it occurred to me, when what exists does craving come to be? By what is craving condition? Then because through careful attention there took place in me breakthrough by no, I didn't read like this that time in the cave, tell you honestly. Hmm? It was like a little bit reading, but it had a big impact. So that's why I tell you, now can't help it. In this retreat you have to, go through that, because in case you don't have this insight, you will carry some as I told you, good karma, strong karma. Okay, but really this is a focus you will get. Now he said carefully, now he said no, like uh, mm, through careful attention or wise reflection, this is what is necessary in your walking meditation. With this simple one link, this is going backwards, and maybe it does another approach. It makes you think in a, makes you fresh way of contemplating. So this with the walking meditation, very important, this every word, but it has a very different experience if insight happens. So that's why you must not try too much to try to know the, like, in words. You must have some patience. Do this, one day it will happen. Hmm? If you're When because it occurred to me, when what exists does craving come to be? By what is craving condition? Then because through careful attention there took place in me a breakthrough by wisdom. When there is feeling, craving comes to be. Craving has feeling as its condition. I know when I'm saying like this, maybe I'm making people frustrated. Definitely, you would like something instant and quickly and something. I mean, I wish I had something like that. Maybe if you meet a Buddha, it will happen. But then because it occurred to me, when what exists does feeling come to be? By what is feeling condition? Then because through careful attention there took place in me breakthrough by wisdom. When there is contact, feeling come to be. Feeling has contact as its condition. Then because it occurred to me, when what exists does contact come to be? By what is contact condition? Then because through careful attention there took place in me a breakthrough by wisdom. When there are six sense bases, contact comes to be. Contact has the six sense bases as its condition. Then because it occurred to me, when what exists does the six sense bases come to be? By what are the six sense bases conditioned? Then because through careful attention there took place in me a breakthrough by wisdom. When there are name and form, the six sense bases come to be. The six sense bases have name and form as their condition. Then because it occurred to me, when what exists does name and form come to be? By what is name and form condition? Then because through careful attention there took place in me a breakthrough by wisdom. When there is consciousness, name and form come to be. By name and form has consciousness as its condition. Then because it occurred to me, when what exists does consciousness come to be? By what is consciousness condition? Then because through careful attention there took place in me breakthrough by wisdom. When there are volitional formations, consciousness come to be. Consciousness has volitional formations as its condition. Then it occurred to me, when what exists does volitional formations come to be? By what are volitional formations conditioned? Then because through careful attention there took place in me a breakthrough by wisdom. When there is ignorance, volitional formations come to be. Volitional formations have ignorance as their conditions. Thus, with ignorance as condition, volitional formations come to be. With volitional formations as condition, consciousness. Such is the origin of the whole mass of suffering. Origination. Thus, because in regard to things unheard before, there arose in me vision, knowledge, wisdom, true knowledge. So the cessation in the other way. It's also an interesting one. 14. Nutriment. Thus have I heard on one occasion the Blessed One was dwelling at Savat in Jeta's Grove, Anathapindika's park. Because there are these four kinds of nutriment for the maintenance of beings that have already come to be and for the assistance of those about to come to be. What for? The nutriment edible food, gross or subtle, second contact, third mental volition, fourth consciousness. These are the four kinds of nutriment for the maintenance of beings that have already come to be and for the assistance of those about to come to be. Because these four kinds of nutriment have what as their source, what as their origin, from what are they born and produced. These four kinds of nutriments have craving as their source, craving as their origin. They are born and produced from craving. It's very nice to see the Paticca Samuppada here. And this craving has what as its source, what as its origin, from what is it born and produced. This craving has feeling as its source, feeling as its origin. It is born and produced from feeling. And this feeling has what as its source? Feeling has contact as its source. And this contact has what as its source? Contact has the six sense bases at its source. And these six sense bases have what as their source? The six sense bases have name and form as their source. And this name and form has what as its source? Name and form has consciousness as its source. And this consciousness has what as its source? Consciousness has volitional formations as its source. And these volitional formations have what as their source? What as their origin? From what are they born and produced? Volitional formations have ignorance as their source, ignorance as their origin. They are born and produced from ignorance. Thus, because with ignorance as condition, volitional formations come to be. With volitional formations as condition, consciousness. Such is the origin of the whole mass of suffering. But with the remainder fading away and cessation of ignorance comes cessation of volitional formations. With the cessation of volitional formations, cessation of consciousness. Now, a little bit even you see, you will be, after looking at the things in a ultimate way, even now, some things you should be reacting less. If something regarding sensual desires, if something regarding um, aversion or anger, your reaction should get less. If it doesn't, there's a river here, I might go and jump there. The water went down. Sorry. Is yeah. So because if they are not reacting properly, I'll have to react that way. This water has gone down. In the morning, it went down, right? Did you notice? And you could see the stones were there, a lot of stones. Like, mm, and suddenly now it's a little bit up. Very nice environment, really. I think better than Melbourne. We had that first retreat. They didn't have a river. River is such a very special thing. You had to only bring some elephants and then Sri Lanka. You want to know some of my elephant experience? It's the near death feelings are good, sometimes, hot you, and after I finish, if we have time, okay? Because there are these four kinds of nutriments for the maintenance of beings that have already come to be. Page number 15, Monia Paguna. Beings that have already come to be and for the assistance of those about to come to be. What for? The nutriment edible food, gross or subtle, second contact, third mental volition, fourth consciousness. These are the four kinds of nutriment for the maintenance of beings that have already come to be and for the assistance of those about to come to be. When this was said, the Venerable Moniyapaguna said to the Blessed One, Venerable Sir, who consumes the nutriment consciousness? That's very nice. Who consumes the nutriment consciousness? Not a valid question, the Blessed One replied. I do not say one consumes. If I should say one consumes, in that case, this would be a valid question. Venerable Sir, who consumes? But I do not speak thus. Since I do not speak thus, if one should ask me, Venerable Sir, for what is the nutriment consciousness a condition? That's interesting. This would be a valid question. To this, the valid answer is the nutriment consciousness is a condition for the production of future renewed existence. When that which has come into being exists, the six sense bases come to be. With the six sense bases as a condition, contact. When who makes contact? Not a valid question. The Blessed One replied, I do not say one makes contact. If I should say one makes contact, in that case, this would be a valid question. Venerable Sir, who makes contact? But I do not speak thus. Since I do not speak thus, if one should ask me, Venerable Sir, with what as condition does contact come to be? This would be a valid question. To this, the valid answer is with six sense bases as condition, contact come to be. With the contact as condition, feeling. So that idea of self, idea of person, okay, that questioning. Of course, we will conventionally talk like that, but for the knowing of the Dhamma, it's a very nice way, the approach. There is conditions happening, but no person as such. Yeah. This is also good. Page number 20. I don't know. Good suttas. I never saw this. Page number 20. Timbaruka. At Savatthi, then the wanderer Timbaruka approached the Blessed One and exchanged greetings with him. When they had concluded their greetings and cordial talk, he sat down to one side and said to him, How is it, Master Gautama? Are pleasure and pain created by oneself? Not so, Timbaruka, the Blessed One said. Then, Master Gautama, are pleasure and pain created by another? Not so, Timbaruka, the Blessed One said. How is it then, Master Gautama? Are pleasure and pain created both by oneself and by another? Not so, Timbaruka, the Blessed One said. Then, Master Gautama, have pleasure and pain arisen by chance, being created neither by oneself nor another? Not so, Timbaruka, the Blessed One said. How is it then, Master Gautama? Is there no pleasure and pain? It is not that there is no pleasure and pain, Timbaruka. There is pleasure and pain. Then is it that Master Gautama does not know and see pleasure and pain? It is not that I do not know and see pleasure and pain. Timbaruka, I know pleasure and pain. I see pleasure and pain. Whether you are asked, how is it, Master Gautama, are pleasure and pain created by oneself, or are they created by another, or are they created by both, or are they created by neither? In each case, you say, not so, Timbaruka. When you have asked, how is it then, Master Gautama? Is there no pleasure and pain? You say it is not that there is no pleasure and pain. Timbaruka, there is pleasure and pain. When asked, then is it that Master Gautama does not know and see pleasure and pain? You say it is not that I do not know and see pleasure and pain. Timbaraka, I know pleasure and pain. I see pleasure and pain. Venerable Sir, let the Blessed One explain pleasure and pain to me. Let the Blessed One teach me about pleasure and pain. Timbaraka, if one thinks the feeling, Timbaraka, if one thinks the feeling and the one who feels it are the same, then one asserts with reference to one existing from the beginning. Pleasure and pain are created by oneself. I do not speak thus. But Timbaraka, if one thinks the feeling is one, the one who feels it is another, then one asserts with reference to one stricken by feeling. Pleasure and pain are created by another. Neither do I speak thus. Without veering towards either of these extremes, the Tathagata teaches the Dhamma by the middle. With ignorance as condition, volitional formations come to be. With volitional formations as condition, consciousness, and consciousness, the six sense organs. Such is the origin of this whole mass of suffering. But with the remainderless fading away and cessation of ignorance comes the cessation of volitional formation. With the cessation of volitional formations, cessation of consciousness. Such is the cessation of this whole mass of. When this was said, the naked ascetic Timuraka said to the Blessed One, Magnificent Master God. Actually, I thought I have in that same title come across another sutta, something similar to that name, but what I was expecting was not there actually. No matter. It's too heavy now. You have been reading a lot of these heavy suttas. No, enough today. I mean, you should now rest your mind. Then only, don't worry, no need. You already went through the five elements and all that. I might go now to the what I call the parachute jump, like that now. Parachute jump, I call it because the special forces, their last training, they have that parachute jump. Okay, with that they have their mission and training as well. So I take it like that. This is the last instructions given to me by my teacher by this referring to the suttas. Of course, he gave me a lot of instructions verbally like that, but referring to suttas is to give sutta numbers. And this was the last sutta number, if I can remember. This is the title was because he had made like he has notebooks, no one can read that. It's like in some different short form coding, and I don't know. Unfortunately, they all lost. So what he gave to me, that part now is coming actually for the last. I mean, from '93 to 2001, when I met him, I used to go to my kuti and date it and write some notes what he spoke. That is coming as a book. I actually meet the people who are doing it now. So they will, they are trying to, they're going to bring it out. So there are a lot of points like discussing with him like this, and he gives very nice tips. And some things now, when I take decisions, actually it just comes to me, what he has told me. And I think, I don't have to think, I just do it that way. So, yeah, those things will hopefully come out. The sixth part, 36 page. But page 36, not, yeah, to the end, right? Second section, 36. Second section. That is the last pages from the beginning. You have like first section and the second one. Second one is few pages from the last 36 page. The sick ward. He has titled these suttas as Kala Magameya. The Pali means Kala Magameya means the time has come. Time has come for what? For Gilampasa? Oh, yeah. Yes. Time has come. Yes. So, in under the title, the time has come. So, I see this as all these practices I was given to, and because I saw him. No, no, that is different in what the notes he gave me. He has titled it "The Time Has Come," but yeah. Okay, you got the page right, 36 page. So there are like several of these suttas there in that title. So I noticed that he was like giving this to me, like giving all these practices to prepare for this. Now this is a time where Buddha goes to the sick ward and gives the disease. So in the sick ward, definitely there would have been monks who are dying or like that. So and I was there with Bante, like when he was getting very old, and he's also nearing death. And it was very nice to see him practically, like really, like uh, he was really, I saw him. His body was like the most suffering body, and I also saw him. He was the most happiest person. Two sides I saw that. Now he's seated like this, no one, you have to lift it. You can't lift on his own. And the doctors come and then he used to preach something. And then the doctor would wonder, why did we come? Sometimes we used to send a doctor who doesn't know about him at all. And then he goes and then he used to tell the doctor there's no medicine for old age like this. And then they used to come out and say, "Who is that nice person?" We felt so. And because other doctors will go with so much reverence, and like they would only feel very inspiring, in his presence. Really, it was a living example of who have practiced these things and how he's benefiting from the real life situations. It was very interesting. He went through a lot of suffering actually to the end. It was not easy. He was such an independent, strong character. Actually, I never forget. Initially, he was having diarrhea. Okay, and I used to. So he would not show. He was getting thin. So he was at Polgastu Island Hermitage, and he was going up and down. I mean, he used to come, and we used to see him mailing, but he would never complain about it. And he just preach and bless others and give strength to the others. And then he was with himself. So I brought some honey and some, medicine. I thought it was some divine medicine anyway, for my good intentions. I have offered to him. So one day, it's very nice. One day in the cafeteria, like the Dhanashala, I was washing the things. There are a lot of monks there. A lot of monks, like one, that time Rakita Bante. Have you heard of him? No, no. He's in, I think, Brisbane. I think. I'm not sure. Gold Coast is in Brisbane. I think he maybe. Anyway, Rakita Bante, he was in charge there at Polgastu. He's the one who invited Bante and brought him there. So all these Bantes were there. Many senior monks were also there. And suddenly I was, in the near the kitchen, I was washing some things, and they all of them came suddenly, Shanaka, Shanaka, because I was the one who was looking after him, and no one wanted to touch him, like he had such a personality, and I knew there's something wrong, so I came quickly. So his head was like this, and no response. Very unusual. Never seen him like that. So all were like around him, and for me, he was very personal, actually very too much for my. So what I did was I held him, and there's like the long bench, and I put his body flat like this. I could never forget that day, and and I never forget. His hands went so peacefully like this, and there was that glow. That's can't say that, just that glow. And I took the key from his hand, from his, because the key was here, so I took it, and then I ran to the kutia. Actually, I went to get my honey, what I offered to him. I thought it will do something, so I opened and got this medicine and came running back. And I don't know, maybe that time. I don't think it's my honey, but maybe time I put the little bit into the mouth, and actually became like conscious. First thing it just came, like Vaya Dhamma Sankara, Upadavaya Dhammino, Upajitva Niruchanti, Ekang Rupa Samosako, and some other this thing. He said, lift this foul body. And he told like this. It was so inspiring. Like, like very conscious he was coming. He just came with this Pali verse. And then I carried. Actually, that day was my saddest day, I would think, and the happiest day. One reason for sadness is to see such a even great, such a strong person like this, that he is so subjected to this decay and all that. And happy because I was there, I was able to give some support. And those days it was very tough because he uh, I know he would not show, he will die, he will not show any pain or difficulty to any soul in the world. So never complain, nothing. As I told you, I don't know, last time I told some time back, like you never ask anything. We have to offer him. You never ask anything like, why want water or nothing. And I've attended to him so long. And then I never forget that day, he was really weak, and but he gave, as a gratitude, he gave me a nice Dhamma, this thing, and before I left. And those days, a great time started in my life, when I was physically looking at him. And there are times that he has gone to the toilet and then no response. The like the Dhanashala is there and he's in the toilet and no response. Then I knew something wrong. I just open and go, and he's in the tap, like this, unconscious. Like, so I'm not those days experience. I had my white, this thing. So I cleaned him, everything there, and dressed him properly because he's a person, he will die in style. So, and even those monks asked, there's nobody here in the forest to the kutia, but you want to dress properly, not with attachment. He was such a, perfectionist. Even if you look at his room, so when I cleaned him, all over my body was there, all this, what is this? Because I don't know how to do that. Just I'm cleaning, I'm touching my shirt, t-shirt, and shirt and everything with white. It's all gray color. But I treasured that shirt, those days, the shirt and the. So like this, it was very inspiring those days. How he went through a lot of suffering actually. Took him to the hospital, but it was very inspiring to see how he was separated from the pain, and it was practiced there. Even in the hospital, like those days, then carry 2 o'clock's walking meditation to carry him. There's no day night. It gave me a lot of strength for my practice also. It was very nice. I don't recall too much, but because mm, he knew how to handle, because now I know that another monk, Jnanadeepa Bante, have anyone heard? No, no. He passed away recent. He was also in the forest a lot. He also came from Polgasdua Aranya, Island Hermitage, but he was unable to handle with the lay people. He was such a cutaway and he couldn't, so the lay, he got in vain, he had such a wonderful life, I would think. Such a sacrifice to live in jungle so long. But, they when he allowed these people to do all these things to the last time, my teacher used to, like my teacher means my, I say his attendant, okay. I'm not suitable yet to be, of course he's my who inspired me. He used to control everything. He used to tell with someone, or sometimes he has given up medicine, he has said no. And then he has called me, I have seen him, just to focus that you are taking the mind with you, not the body. And doctors see it from an angle of science or angle of body. And like that, he has explained to me that, and then I felt so inspired. Once the urine was not coming out or something. And then he just said, no, no need, let it be. And then you can see he's just preparing to die. But he didn't die here, it was some more time. Yeah, those days very interesting. Um, there are very interesting things happen. Actually, there's a time I took a decision to do the job. Okay, and because I found my practice was getting stuck. I was warned also by some of my advisors, I would call them, that now to do a job this time, don't do too much spiritual thing. But I didn't listen to them. I continued to stay in the island hermitage and practice when I was like 25, 25. So 24 or 25. So my teacher, when I meet him, I feel inspired. But when I go to the kutia, I feel or room, I feel the stress, that I can't go anymore. So I went on like that, and then I realized something wrong with the practice, something wrong. So then I went back, and then I decided to, I realized there's something wrong, and I consulted several of my advisors or whoever, and then I realized I have to do this, like do a job or do something for short time. So that time my teacher was also very old and like he could die anytime. He looked like that. So many devotees first they thought I'm there and I'll now ordain. They who are watching, like they're seeing now he's always there with Bante, and now next day he will ordain. So they realized that I have decided now to do a job and go away from here. And anytime he might die and all that. And I told them, I hope, I don't know whether they will ever remember. They're also old. I told him going to live some more longer time. And I went. And when I did that, they told me about Webu Sayadaw. They have been very devoted of Webu Sayadaw. Have you heard? In Thai, in Burma. He was also well known in 70s. Webu Sayadaw. From him only Goenka, no, not Webu Sayadaw. Yeah, Webu Sayadaw. His pupil was, sorry, Webu Sayadaw. His pupil was Goenkaji's teacher, right? I don't know the name of Goenkaji's teacher. Mahasi Sayadaw, yes. No, no, sorry. No, no. Webu Sayadaw was, they are different. I'm talking about the one who told to always concentrate on breath. Webu Sayadaw, yeah. So she means this Daika or this devotee was a follower of Webu Sayadaw very much. So she told that someone look at in the horoscope or something of Webu Sayadaw also, but it didn't happen. She told me like that, and I was going. But anyway, my teacher lived 5 years or 7 years more after that incident. So I went like this, and everybody thought now he got doing job. Next he get married. I went like this and it came like this fully. So it was a very, like sometimes I give advice to people. I see some people and I told them, sometimes not to ordain, do this, do that, because knowing something, that I also want them to ordain definitely, but not, you have to make sure you maneuver your karma, you can navigate that and then come to this. So those days were very interesting. My then my teacher was there. Slowly he was going down, down, and so many very inspiring time. Hospital and other times. Then I ordained, went to the Himalayas, then ordained. With the elephant also, I tell this last story before I go. This one time, no, maybe I read this and see. I think you all must go to bed, otherwise you'll get more migraine, isn't it? Because your time is mine now. I am alert all the night now. Because this is, I realize you all sleep 8:39, right? I don't know. I don't know how you sleep in the daylight. Today's your last night anyway. We read this 39, 36. I'm sorry. This is the parachute jump one. Last one I also have to give you all. A bhikkhu should await his time mindful and clearly comprehending. This is our instruction to you. Bhikkhus, while a bhikkhu dwells thus mindful and dearly, clearly, it's wrong print, right? Clearly comprehending, diligent, ardent, and resolute, if there arises in him a pleasant feeling, he understands thus. There has arisen in me a pleasant feeling. Now that is dependent. Wait a minute. This is cut. This is 34. We go to the sick board one. They have shortened that 34. Page number 34. On one occasion, the Blessed One was dwelling at Vesali, in the great wood, in the hall with the peak roof. Then in the evening, the Blessed One emerged from seclusion and went to the sick board, where he sat down in the appointed seat and addressed the bhikkhus thus. Bhikkhus, a bhikkhu should await his time, mindful and clearly comprehending. This is our instruction to you. And how bhikkhus is a bhikkhu mindful? Here bhikkhus, a bhikkhu dwells contemplating the body in the body, ardent, clearly comprehending, mindful, having put away covetousness and displeasure in regard to the world. He dwells contemplating feelings in feelings, mind in mind, phenomena in phenomena, ardent, clearly comprehending, mindful, having put away covetousness and displeasure in regard to the world. It is in such a way that the bhikkhu is mindful. And how bhikkhus does a bhikkhu exercise clear comprehension? Here, bhikkhus, a bhikkhu is one who acts with clear comprehension when going forward and returning, when looking ahead and looking aside, when drawing in and extending the limbs, when wearing his robes and carrying his outer robe and bowl, when eating, drinking, chewing his food and tasting, when defecating and urinating, when walking, standing, sitting, falling asleep, waking up, speaking, and keeping silent. It is such a way that a bhikkhu exercises clear comprehension. A bhikkhu should await his time mindful and clearly comprehending. This is our instruction to you. Bhikkhus, while a bhikkhu dwells thus, mindful and clearly comprehending, diligent, ardent, and resolute, if there arises in him a pleasant feeling, he understands thus, there has arisen in me a pleasant feeling. Now that it is dependent, not independent. Dependent on what? Dependent on this very body. But this body is impermanent, conditioned, dependently arisen. So when the pleasant feeling has arisen in dependence on a body that is impermanent, conditioned, dependently arisen, how could it be permanent? He dwells contemplating impermanence in the body and in pleasant feeling. He dwells contemplating vanishing, contemplating fading away, contemplating cessation, contemplating relinquishment as he dwells thus. Can you do that? Have you tried that a bit? Now, while like this also, like you're looking at your body from outside, even now you might have a feeling. You might think you're now thinking is active. You think that now this body that I'm experiencing, this present experience, is an impermanent conditioned thing, is bound to change, and whatever I'm experiencing now is bound to change because of that, because it depends on this body. It's like another eye will come to you. Like you have to train that to look at yourself. It's not you're seeing something, it's you're living in a certain awareness and understanding. That's how you have to develop that slowly, slowly, so that later on, maybe you're taken to hospital or something, you have a checkup, you have a way out of this pain and worry. You learn to look at your life like that, like from outside. Remember this, learn to develop that. You might even get a deep experience when you're doing that, but at least when you're trying like that, you're creating another, like a body that is aware of you. So this is very important. Then you're having an equanimity, you're watching, you're observing, thinking about, the, this is how it should be practiced actually. But this body is impermanent, conditioned, dependently arisen. So when the present feeling has arisen, independent on a body that is impermanent, conditioned, dependently arisen, how could it be permanent? He dwells contemplating impermanence in the body and in pleasant feeling. He dwells contemplating vanishing, contemplating fading away, contemplating cessation, contemplating relinquishment. As he dwells thus, the underlying tendency to lust in regard to the body and in regard to pleasant feeling is abandoned by him. Because while a bhikkhu dwells thus, mindful and clearly comprehending, diligent, ardent, and resolute, if there arises in a painful feeling, he understands thus, there has arisen in me a painful feeling. Now that is dependent, not independent. Dependent on what? Dependent on this body. But this body is impermanent, conditioned, dependently arisen. So when the painful feeling has arisen in dependence on a body that is impermanent, conditioned, dependently arisen, how could it be permanent? He dwells contemplating impermanence in the body and in the painful feeling. He dwells contemplating vanishing, contemplating fading away, contemplating cessation, contemplating relinquishment. As he dwells thus, the underlying tendency to aversion in regard to the body and regard to painful feeling is abandoned by him. Bhikkhus, while a bhikkhu dwells thus mindful and clearly comprehending, diligent, ardent, and resolute, if there arises in him a neither painful nor pleasant feeling, But he understands thus, there has arisen in me a neither painful nor pleasant feeling. Now that is dependent, not independent. Dependent on what? Dependent on just this body. But this body is impermanent, conditioned. Now, this is not easy to observe like that. This is normally neither painful nor pleasant feeling. Sometimes you are in meditation, in compassion or looking at the breath, and your mind is like coming to a neutral state of mind, peaceful. Okay, but it's nice if you have read like this and already prepared yourself in walking meditation and all that. While you're in that peaceful experiencing it, not just experiencing it only, then you can bring this contemplation. I'm having this peaceful feeling. It depends on the body. Okay, without the body, I will not feel that subtle peace. It is a feeling too. So this feeling depends on this body, which is impermanent, conditioned thing, and therefore this feeling has to be impermanent. If you can think like that while you're going through experience that peace, it is then very good. Depending on what? Depending on just this body. But this body is impermanent, condition, dependently arising. So when the neither painful nor pleasant feeling has arisen independent on body that is impermanent, condition, dependently arising, how could it be permanent? He dwells contemplating impermanence in the body, and in neither painful nor pleasant feeling. He dwells contemplating vanishing, contemplating fading away, contemplating cessation, contemplating relinquishment. As he dwells thus, the underlying tendency to ignorance in regard to the body and in regard to the neither painful nor pleasant feeling is abandoned by him. If he feels a pleasant feeling, he understands it is impermanent. He understands it is not held to. He understands it is not delighted in. If he feels a painful feeling, he understands it is impermanent. He understands it is not held to. He understands it is not delighted in. If he feels a neither painful nor pleasant feeling, he understands it is impermanent. He understands it is not held to. He understands it is not delighted in. If he feels a pleasant feeling, he feels it detached. If he feels a painful feeling, he feels it detached. If he feels a neither painful nor pleasant feeling, he feels it detached. When he feels a feeling terminating with the body, he understands I feel a feeling terminating with the body. When he feels a feeling terminating with life, he understands I feel a feeling terminating with life. He understands with the breakup of the body, following the exhaustion of life, all that is felt, not being delighted in, will become cool right here. Just as because an oil lamp burns in dependence on the oil and the wick, and with the exhaustion of the oil and the wick, it is extinguished through lack of fuel. So too bhikkhus, when a bhikkhu feels a feeling terminating with the body, terminating with the life, he understands with the breakup of the body. Now in this case, this is where you can already, when you're practicing like this, I feel a feeling terminating with the body. So when you feel like very deadly feeling, okay, that death might come, you are aware that you are getting a deadly feeling. Okay, when you feel a feeling terminating with life, so you are in that moment noting that. So this way you're already now thinking like when I'm going to die, but you should be already doing now, where you're observing the immediate feeling, but you're getting and noting it and being aware that I'm having this kind of feeling, and it's dependent on this, and this is impermanent, and this is impermanent. Because of this is impermanent, that will be impermanent. Like that, you're contemplating, you get used to that practice. So in this case, if you don't delight in feelings even now, so you are creating no karma and you are cooling yourself. So you can also think now, in case you can think in this practice, if you still have a lot of desires and you're not still, you can think, I'll be reborn again too. This body will finish. And so you are aware. Now, in this case, it is like you are aware that after this body dies, it will be finishing. That is of an arahant, because he has not delighted in anything at all. So he has not created karma. But it's very good, this one. I think this prepares you if you are going to die one day. Not if, you are definitely going to, unless you attain arahantship and then your body dies, but you will not identify with what dies. So this will be good. Okay, this practice, all these practices you have done, as thoughts, body is not me, feelings are not me, eye, ears, nose, tongue, they are all leading you to face this. And if you properly master it, you will not die because you are not in what is dying. Okay. So this is the last sutta I have for you all. Maybe I will tell you one of my near-death experience long years ago with the elephant. Okay, before we maybe yes, that is in the Satipatthana Sutta. Which page? Can you tell me, please? In this same sutta, please. Can you? I wrote the. Okay, wait. 34. Yeah. So the bhikkhu mindful. Here, bhikkhu dwells contemplate the body in the body. Ardent, clearly comprehending, mindful, having put away covetousness and displeasure. Um, it's the other one comes also feeling, body ardent, clearly comprehending, mindful, having put aside, mind in the mind, phenomena in the phenomena. Mm, it's in the Satipatthana way. Now, just now I told you, like, like you're looking from outside and, like, you're going through a peaceful feeling, and then like you're looking from your own body from outside, and you are this way of contemplating. Hmm? Let me take the full sutta of Satipatthana. Do we have a sutta there? Anywhere written? I don't know. Any page? Can you see? Kaye kayanupasse viharati. That's how the 330. Bhikkhu, this is the what are the yeah, yeah. But this is that observing process. This way how you're observing, and it's in a practice. So that is, like you're taking it as a not as a subjective thing. You're taking it as objectively. When you're taking it as objectively, to explain that it's taken as objectively as something to be, analyze how it arises and passes away. So to do that, you have to take it like from, like, so you're looking into it. That is the idea. You get body as body. That's so kaye kayanupassi viharati. So I don't know the English translation. It comes kaye kaya vedana vedananupassi viharati. You're just taking it as something to be observed. That's how the real idea comes in a practice. You're taking it, not you're taking it, like personally. You're in it. You're like out and then going into it, looking at it. Okay. In practice, that's how it happens. You have to come out of this. You can't be like so identified with it and then kind of observe it. You're objectively observing it. You get it? Hmm? Even the feeling is same. You're objectively observing the feeling. You're not like in the feelings and then kind of. So it's like you are looking it like outside and then going into it, but you're taking it objectively. You get it? Hmm? It's clear, right? In practice, it's very not very difficult to understand. Even the other one, just now I explained about how to keep your awareness. Like you get a peaceful feeling, and it depends on that. That thinking. So you're having it here, but you're thinking about it. You're going into it in a different way. Hmm? you are contemplating and so on. And so mentally you are separating it from the attachment to that and everything. It's clear, no? You can try. Now even the walking meditation, that's what you're trying to do. Like you are having a Dhamma picture in your mind. That's how deeply you go. Dhamma picture. Here is differently, yeah. Now you can see here contemplating the body as a body. So here a bhikkhu gone to the forest or to the root of a tree. It is it's not very this thing, just some ways of explaining. But when you have it just like that, it's not easy to understand. Body in the body, if you hear it like that. But if you so anything else, anyone? If I go to my forest story, I suddenly gave the memory. I thought then I should share with you. It's a long years ago. I was in this what are this Kudumbigala, that area, and there was a lone elephant visiting that area. So the monks who were in charge, they had idea about this elephant. So I have not even seen, and so after a few days, one day I was after my food, dana. I was going to my cave. There are huge caves made by kings those days. Kings, they are giants. You know, we had a king called Dutugamnu. He had giants to fight for him, and later they did a lot of spiritual things. And I think they ordained also, no? Some of them they became monks also. So one of these they have like which giant has made this, the name is there, and who donated this and so on. So one of these my cave that was called Yodalanam, giant cave. It's not because it was so big, huge, and a lot of bears come there. So I remember once. Now this I got to know there was this lone elephant that was very very he's really angry because he has been shot by the farmers, and now he's angry with humans. Otherwise they are very very nice, like human beings sometimes. They have very good memory, good intelligence, everything. So one day after my dana, I saw the elephant like where that gentleman is, little bit over there. And then I crossed, but those days I was not too much experienced with the jungle. So I stopped and I tried to get the elephant's attention. I just looked and waited like this. And then suddenly he saw me, he was eating grass. And then like he just, like his ears were when like very this alert. And he put his trump, this thing in the trump, the trunk like this, and made that trumpeting noise, and then came charging, maybe a little bit further than that. So and I'm not used to going fast. I was taking few steps, I came back, and this other monkey knew that it's me. The sound came, Raja, Raja, he shouted and came, from there. And then I was there, and like somewhere near this gentleman, it makes like a false make you fear, like then he just turned that way and waited. So he took me from another route to my cave. So the next day, in the morning, I happened to come. You have like in the jungle, you have small pathways made by animals from waterhole to waterhole. Okay, so we use those roads, I mean, sometimes for us to travel easily. So my cave to the Dhanashala or the cafeteria, that small, those roads are there. Very clear, very clean, like they have gone, bears, all the other animals. And otherwise it's all bush and tree. So it's narrow also. So I was going in the morning, and suddenly when I going, and suddenly this like the when the elephant breathe hard, you you have like it's a very you can't tell what it is. To see the elephant is just in like the trunk is there just here, just up there. I am just there. So the pathway. So now I can't go back or I can't go front. I froze, and I was expecting to take me in. Yeah, really, it's not a joke. That time you must face this. Then I realized that suddenly my stomach was something happening in my stomach, and then it come to my mind. I just like that moment is enlarged. Like you can suddenly I felt my stomach was something happening unusual, not normally. It's a very unusual stomach feeling. Then it came to my mind. I'm talking to myself, Gnanaloka, you're going to die now. Gnanaloka, you're going to die now. uh, you have not finished. You're going to die now, and it's not by death you finish this path. I'm telling to myself, it's not by death you finish this path. It is by insight and removing craving. That's how. And that I have not completed my meditation yet, and can't help it. I'll have to do it next now, later. And then I saw immediately I was attached to the meditation, right? So the attachment was creating fear. That fear was creating this stomach thing. It was like this, like that. It just followed like that. And I waited. He also waited. I don't know why. So some more waited. I didn't look, of course. Then I start to move. So I think maybe like I think in jungle normally if you react a lot also they are also frightened. Tell you honestly, they're thousand times frightened then. So that's why they either try to run away. If they can't, they would attack. So it's interesting sometimes our fear and our even I faced 1 year, 2 years back, or 1.5 years somewhere. I went for a short visit to more deeper area for a visit only. I was staying there longer before, and they also this elephant charge. I told you, I know the two people stayed both, but I know it didn't come from the stomach that time, but I could see some little bit frozen feeling in the body. I mean the top part. Like that slowly is reducing, slowly. Then here, 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 and then finish. I hope. Of course, recently, or this is like with animals, but with my father was a nice experience too. This, I hope we can really numb this whole thing. Practice, and with the food also, we have to make sure the desire for food that is again connected with the senses. So has to be done. Anything else you all want to ask? I was thinking, what about today? Anyone who want to like the night? That's better, no? Because I am a night owl, so I I don't think anyone. I don't think if someone should I tell? It's okay because um, sorry, that's okay. Anatta. Right. That is okay. You're putting it the other way again. Like okay. Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Correct, correct. Mhm. Mhm. Actually, he's trying. Yes, he's trying to bring another view that will remove your suffering. That's the purpose of his this thing. He's trying to make you look at things in such a way that your desires will go away, and you will be independent from this thing that is happening, and so that when it presents itself with the like with the suffering, you will not feel the suffering. That's the purpose. It's like so it's like it's also a means of looking at things, and it's that way of looking is also correct. Impermanence, suffering, and not self. But the purpose of him to do that is that he's compassionate. His wisdom is not just for some curiosity. His wisdom is to remove the suffering of living beings. Even when he was before the Buddha, whatever he did was, his, whatever he found out to the world was to remove their suffering, because he had that tremendous, compassion. And so this way of looking is that now we can see that when we look at like that, when we are sick or when we lose someone dear, or even if we have to face death, we find it's easy to face it because we will not be excited by something. And so even now, I mean, even if you have practiced, if you thought something so real, and especially like you lose your father or your mother or something, I mean, I can see my brother how he's feeling, and I would definitely, if I felt something strong, I would express, I would also, I was expecting, I was wondering how I would this thing, but I could see really there's a way out, completely a way out, and some degree I have come out also. I would feel, I mean, but I rather not even a trace even to have, but it's a really a hope, and even now you can feel you can live peacefully, and it's like a way of looking. Now you can get that even from samadhi, but this is a more concrete way. It's a more concrete way. But you must have some patience, because there are levels of clarity of this will come. So sometimes it is there at a level where you are one is intellectually or reasoning it out. It doesn't seem to give a lot of peace. So that for that situation, I will tell you, have some patience. Yes. No, you're honest about some things, and I can understand what you're telling also. But I'm sure you have read through a lot now, and time will come very soon. Something I hope some not here, like even when you go out and when you're in situation, it should give you some spark. Yeah, yeah. And you have the mind and the mind object. Dhamma, it is called. Hmm? What comes from outside. So it's normally what we are taken from five senses. Okay, that comes as memory, and sometimes we can consciously think about it. So that is also mind object. That one level. Now, one we have sometimes, like for example, in samadhi, to get metta bhavana, sometimes we create an object. So that is also happening as a mind object. You get it? So those are the ones you call mind object. Now you create satyo, beings and so on. So that is a mind object there, and so it is. So that is completely without the five senses. It's happening. Hmm? So normally we have data got from five senses, and we are getting from mind object also. There are others which come from like so there is a material nature in that also, like a material part in it that comes, but it's very subtle. I know it creates like it's not very clear why is that. Now sound waves, we can say sound waves, okay, and but there's some chemical, I would call it, I don't know, maybe a chemical, kind of which is in the brain part that gives that touch. So sometimes we see that anxiety is reduced by changing that. You get it, like anxiety. The medicine is created, so that I believe that the mind object is changed. Like You understand? Yeah, it is because all is coming to the mind, the mind. Yes, correct, correct. Yeah. That's why you see in suttas it explains also that without the mind is not, it's like it's the main headquarters. Important thing is to take them as not me, not I. They're changing condition, and that is necessary for consciousness to arise, and how it is not. It's a changing thing, and if it is, I think I was very happy. Some of them they have noticed that even consciousness is not yours. It is something quite awakening thing. It's true because it's conditionally coming. These are very awakening things because we have gone through like what's his name, Deepak Chopra and all these people. They are also good. You get a lot of answers from this so easily. Regarding consciousness, is a big topic. You know, there's always two sides. One telling consciousness is a separate entity, it does exist. Others telling that it is part of the brain, material thing. But it's still under research because you can't come to any conclusion. So they can have the jobs for some more time, longer time. But very nicely, Deepak Chopra, he's a very live person. He puts things into very fresh. I don't know. He must be old also, no? Yes. But it's for the Western world, it was quite this thing. But now here you get all the answers. Sankara Pacha Vijnana. Even how the consciousness arises. Now, he's based on the Upanishads. He explains things based on the Upanishad, the Hindu analytical kind of. It's good. Talks about perception and all that. But here, concrete, Buddha comes as an enlightened being. No one discourses like that. Tells exactly the parts of consciousness, Vedana, Sanya, Sankara. Very clear. It shows his enlightenment. It answers even philosophical questions completely. Oh, yes, okay. All right, thank you. I don't know. So this goes, people are looking YouTube and they get answer. Huh? I don't feel that way. Maybe that's why later I meet some people, they complain. Anyway, it's good that other people also get a chance. I have heard some people coming crying also. Those some places they have seen the YouTube and they have some difficult times, and someone says, "So okay, I'm very happy." Just from the YouTube, you can use it. What 100%? First, yes. Don't expect these lights and all that experience. Take it as impermanent. Whatever you have experienced, don't attach. Non-attachment is the greatest light you can see. Hmm? That is wisdom light. If you have some experience, experience it, but note it. Whether it come again or not, no problem. If it comes, is okay. If it doesn't come, it's still okay. So when you worry what your experience you had and you are expecting again, then you get into depression and all that. Some yogis it happens, and then they get sick also after that. They are waiting for that experience they went through. So you should know if it comes, it's okay. So not to expect anything is the biggest meditation. So this is how to remove the block. So, so I wish you can practice only anitya properly. So whatever experience you come is impermanent and you don't hold to anything. And your anitya experience is the most important thing. Leave completely the idea of getting the sight of light, light and all that. Just just enjoy doing the meditation, not any results of meditation. Yeah, now you're doing it and expecting. So that's the reason. So you're waiting now. It will happen now. It will happen now. Don't meditate. Go and sleep. That is better than expecting and waiting. You'll be okay, Teruvan Saranai. You'll be all right. You're trying and you'll be successful. Hmm. Okay, this first time I answer from the. This may be good for you all also, right? You also get answers from it. Okay. Any problem comes in your meditation or anything is because always somewhere our clean nature, attaching nature comes in. So if you're very wise to always check where you attach to, your problems, you will be in the you will solve your own problems. But you have to be honest and you have to be sharp to look at yourself. Where am I attached to? What am I holding to? And then you can let go. Problem is solved. So anything else? Hmm. Today is the last day, very special day. Many things can happen. Tomorrow, hmm, nothing will be. If anything disturbing will happen, it should have happened before you come here. 7 years, 6 days, or 5 days back at home. You are coming here means it's all good things that are happening to you. Okay, so be happy. Anything else you all want to? Right. Those things we can't. We also can't verify it. We have not that faculty, or we can take the things that we can verify. One thing, another way also we can think is that Buddha will not lie. Like if he has said that, it would happen like that. That's one way. But still, it's like. But the things of the Dhamma regarding the consciousness is not mine or impermanence or something, you can have a real experience right now. There's a definite possibility. And if that happens, then from inference or, you would think other things also. But maybe these stories, we can't say. I, I can't say, but I know it's recorded. Like Pali scholars, some of the monks I have met, they have told me, like it's very interesting. We have a conversation and someone is here, so from the side and listening and recording, remembering. So it shows exactly that way. So this is the one way also to prove that this is the original words of the actual when Buddha was alive. But in my way, I don't know. I'm not a scholar like that. I have come across only by my meditation experience of the teaching, and that makes me feel this is the original words of the Buddha. I have definitely that personal confidence about it, and that's why I so much treasure it. And I also recommend people this chance might be lost. But regarding those other, as time goes on, I don't know whether changes some of the, I don't think just because we can't digest or understand, comprehend, we must not think that, unless, regarding what did you say? Sorry, sir. You were talking about some, you know, yeah, he was the world ruling king, right? Chakravarti, you mean? Like that, right? So many wives, so Yeah. That is given actually for a world ruler. There are times where you have in the whole world a ruler that comes like a world ruler. It's also specific. It's not like America now. It's a very different type of because of virtuousness of him that world ruler is born. In the world. So he also has 32 marks normally. So there, that could be in not Asoka period or now very recent times. It, it could be even in another planet, because the Earth, there's not just Earth only. So, like there are like 10,000 world systems in, but this is an incident that happened. So he recalls his one of his lives, previous lives. So, so he would have been like if even if he now before this birth, he was in the heavens. Okay, the last birth he had, he was in Tavatimsa or Tusita, the heavens. So that a single day, a week, or a month is so long. So what has happened on earth is, like, so definitely there would have been a time where this kind of ruler was there. It's not him, so it happens very often. Like the heavens, the gods, they do exist. Uh, but I don't know. What about the heavens? Do you have doubt about them sometimes? But I can tell you how I came to, because I'm also a person I don't see or I will not believe, but I will try to find out regarding the heavens. When I was like 16 years, I told you about relativity, theory of relativity. So regarding the time can be stretched. So when I got to know about it, and I read this, I was reading every book at that time, and I came across where the king of gods came to meet the Buddha. In that meeting, in that sutta, it explains about that heaven, some details about it, like 1,000 years on earth is one day there, and such weeks and so on. Now, when you read only that, it looks like fairy tale. Okay, so then that time, same time, I was exposed to this, theory of relativity, and the relativistic effects near the speed of light, regarding the time being can be dilated. This was really fascinating for me. It just gave me that these words do exist, because you don't find such a scientific, like just because when Einstein realizes it, then this starts to work. This was always happening. This possibility, not the possibility is happening. So this principle. So there, it gave me faith about the existence of those d- dimensions, and I knew they were powerful. And that time, as a young boy, I have not studied anything. So in the midnight, I had this English language test papers, English literature, and old past papers, and made some few options of the English language literature, English language essay titles, and English literature essay titles. And what I did was, when my faith was clear that through relativity only I got the faith that this king of gods or that particular realm does exist. When I felt very this thing, I actually sort of focus on which title that might come. I did like a prediction. Okay, so and I did make two titles, and then I told next day my father to. I didn't tell what I was doing those days. So in the next day, I told my father to go and get my tutor to write two essays under these titles. So my tutor was wondering whether I have not studied everything, whether I'm just why am I focusing on two essays? And the other day I go to, it was IGCSE, Cambridge Syndicate. And when I went to the class, all are there. This like, so I got the test paper, and suddenly I take the test papers. These two headings are there. I don't know, it was like for me that was my building blocks for my meditation. And later on, based on these things, impermanent and all that came very later. But this was that these words did exist was a very strong way that time through physics only that. And then I later reasoned out another way. If something goes faster than the speed of light, mathematically it shows it goes back in time. So I related that to memory. Like what we call memory is that. I hope you don't think this way, right? Okay. But you have already very clear way of thinking. I didn't have the sutras that time. So back in time, and like that, it intuition, like memory was that. So sometimes I used to, with my friends, I used to tell them, "Can you see my hand?" And they check, and then, "Can you remember that?" And I said, "You went faster than the speed of light now." And then if so, I thought in terms of speeds, and then intuition was more faster. And there's a point where insight knowledge, where time will stop. That's how I reason out. And for a scientific mind is very interesting because it relates with the meditation and what happens. So actually, that brought me to some experience. But anyway, one of the professors that I met that time was Professor Caballero. I never forget. My father invited him for dinner, and we were having a conversation. My father was out until the whole dinner ended because I really, and he's the one who warned me, don't think too much about it. He knew that it will take me to like madness because that is, but he knew it's something right there. He was, but he encouraged me as a young boy, and just that short meeting, and then some experiences happen later. So this sutta will bring you that experiences. Don't go through this way, that way. Um, but sometimes I like to share it how I came as a young boy many years back. Does it make sense? Okay. Have you some idea of science and physics? Some idea of the science and physics of that part, like relativity theory and so on. Oh, okay, but not too much. I mean, I also not. But regarding the time dilation, you're familiar with that. Yeah, that's enough to know. Mhm. The best thing is to, it's a way of studying things. Like uh, if you develop something, another sutta. I don't have you read about Akanya Sutta, how the world begins and all. The Buddha has another explanation. Akanya Sutta, how the universe began, and his idea of universe. No, not that way. It talks about like a time where it was suspension, and then how things start again, and then suspension. So this gave me a lot of answers for. I was interested in also about cosmology those days, especially the stars and all that. I got answers from that. Anyway, after a long time, I'm remembering this when you all are talking about it. He talks about how like countries got formed, and with our craving, more craving than how we formed these institutions and things like that, and how we got divided. And especially which interested me was how male and female bodies started. So it also answers the theological things that are known. So actually, Buddha gives another explanation for this. Like he says, like three blind men, and like they see there's an elephant, and then one touches the leg, and with the leg part, he tries to explain the elephant. He says that it is like the what. I have in Sri Lanka, we are, yeah, like could be trunk of a tree, and someone holds this thing, and he thinks, oh, this. He tries to explain with that the whole thing. So he explains like that. First, he tells us to come out of the blindness. So that's how this process of purifying you know from our the controlling our senses and sharpening our brain, where we can really like penetrate the truths of life. So but this very interesting, this Aganya Sutta, in this one, it interested me because I think I should be given a PhD for one finding. Okay. I think last time did I tell? No, no. It has like a way how our cravings increase. And first it was like milky thing, and there was like light beings, and how they came in touch with this. It's also touch again, and then slowly they felt that taste, and then like the light disappeared, and that's how the stars happened to come. See, that light became the stars actually. So later on, like few beings. So he gives actually words also that we use today, like what a nice taste or something like this. I have not gone through it I've got just some parts of it. I was not too this thing to really dwell and research on that for a long time. But some words that we use now, that he says the proof of how it comes from that incident. He goes like Buddha explains like that. And then one place, actually one interesting place now, where the bodies become like only few people, like try to indulge or like see the difference of a body, or like get involved with the body. Then this was not, like this was from the community. They sort of chased them away. Like, they were like, I don't know the one word to give for that. After a long time, I'm speaking English, so. So sorry. Outcast, yeah. And when they were gone, when they this thing that was related with something to do with feces, like they like stones and like with the associated with the feces, they this thing. So I realized, you have you seen when people get married and they go, they have confetti. Sorry. Yeah, of course, yeah, yeah. So I see that many of these things actually we can study like that. But by the time we learn all this, we are going to face old age and death. So better we get some tools to I don't think we have enough time. Some things, if the main things, if we can now, I also still don't have time to study these things. But those days I did come across, and it answered a lot of my uh, question, especially when you understand consciousness. That now I heard that one biologist have told those days that don't look for facts, you will see it. Don't look for the facts, you will see it. One microbiologist, the reason he also realized that quantum this thing, when you're trying to observe, that you are going to manifest or you're going to see something. So you can't completely independently observe something. Your desire, your wanting to see makes things so like, so that's very important. Based on that, if you search, I think you're on the right direction. Unless you take parts and parts and try to, all things should fit, then some are not complete information, some are under research and so on. And it's good. It's interesting for me also.
We can't directly see and experience, then once we've made that leap, let's call it a leap, because it's not something we can physically see around us. You can't go to Coles and buy heaven. It's we have to sort of believe it as a question of faith to some extent, unless we have a direct experience.
It's like someone you have, you been to, I don't know, you have not been to Sri Lanka, right? But then you meet people who have gone to Sri Lanka. So but then you begin to know that, do you have this belief that Sri Lanka does not exist? Many Australians have also gone on TV also.
The way I think of it is that, for example, animals can experience, they've got sensory capacities that humans don't. They can see, feel, detect things that humans can't. So there are clearly things that humans are incapable of physically experiencing. And so it's not a big leap, I don't think, to think there are other dimensions as well that humans can't, in this plane, directly experience easily. So if that's true, then why couldn't there be multiverses? Why can't there be other things as well that are just outside of our ability to easily contemplate? So it's just a question of how flexible our minds can be, and how tied we are to this is the only dimension that exists and everything else is fantasy. I think that's probably wrong.
Yeah, that's quite narrow.
Other things.
Yeah, that's a possibility, because they're correct. You're right. That point is very correct, because you have to be open and keep your research going. As a human being, we can do that. Only humans do like that so much. Others just just accept things and just they are living only actually. So but yeah, that's true, that's true. Now, I am not telling I am also seeing heavens directly. I'm never, but I'm feeling now. I'm beginning to feel some things, and for sure. So it's like more I'm getting purer, and the influence of some higher hands I'm definitely experiencing it. I mean, but it's so subtle and some coincidences and how these things can form. It's something I can't explain otherwise. So that's for sure. But I would rather stick to what I can experience immediately with my own faculty, as a rather than seeing heavens. I would rather see. I really like to see nibbana more. So that is a sure thing, and then after that maybe I will go and see the heavens. Like maybe. But very now also after my father's passing away, regarding the heavens and some things, I'm getting some perceptions, very, well, but still it's under research before I put it out to, some. As monks, we are supposed to, like actually we should be knowing about, we are supposed to, know about the other dimensions, and not only just by book, we should really practice and experience something.
Multiple experiences of, um, of sensing spirits or, people that are not with us in physical body anymore.
Right.
And I had faith that they were accurate and true. And so that, gives me some, if you like, some belief
Yeah.
that there are other.
Other could be other, yeah, correct.
I don't understand it, and I'm very curious about it. You walk into a room, for example, and there's an energy there. Well, what is that?
Correct, correct. Yeah, that's interesting.
How do we understand the energies of
Unseen thing.
people's emotions, for example? How can you explain that?
I sometimes try to tell about the unseen spirits for people to get sometime this. Yeah, sometimes we have. Mm, I should not talk about it now. Okay. Any other question? Tomorrow? Um, yes, maybe, maybe not. I'll try to come tomorrow because it's last day. You want to? Okay. Thank you, thank you. Thank you for coming and taking part, and it gave me a lot of pleasure to. Actually, this I felt very at home. Maybe I was able to speak in English as well as I felt the thinking in mind is. I was like going back to from my old times after a long time. Tell you honestly, it's like a very fresh air for me. Mm, yeah, I also wish you all good luck tomorrow. Uh, from tonight, but make sure tonight you relax a bit. Don't worry. I think you have all completed the Salayatana Vagga evening. Have you? Doesn't matter. But don't talk now. It's not finished because some things could happen the next hours too. Because it's 4 days. Four, no? Four? Tomorrow it will be 5 days. Okay. So this is the minimum. It's normally 5 days. It should be 6 days actually. So the 5 days are properly covered. So minimum is 3 days you cover. That's where something can build up, and then the fourth day something can come. Fifth day is like sure you have been here and there wandering to make sure. So please, I think it's for your own good. Don't talk at all. Try to be like alone and with the Dhamma. These few hours, coming hours, so that you maximum get something from this coming here. You have spent time like that. It's your valuable time too, and I hope it will become maximum fruitful for you. I believe it will be definitely. Some people had difficulties, all that. Yeah, I think it's worth it. I know in Sri Lanka, who knows the value of it, they thought when they had this difficulty, they said better to die going to the retreat. I think that's the right attitude. Yes. better to die. Because I don't think anything will give you that blessings and support for you to face the final important questions in your life. When you have to face crisis, sickness, or death. I think these things, some tools you should have got, and the way how to spend your coming days and months, that you will prepare yourself to have less suffering as time goes on. So, what about regarding anyone who they said that some people wanted to meet? No? I think you all have need to have a rest. Tomorrow or tonight, how is it? You can tell somebody, like Mali, or you can do it, if anyone. So I got some message that some few people wanted to meet. So in that case, Mali can arrange, let them rest. I think they're tired. Like, so can after I leave, there you can for 5 minutes if you want to know something or whatever. I don't think if you really have a question, okay, right now, okay.
And so we think a lot about what we're going to do, and also internally sort of the dialogue happening. So how would Arya Pudgala or Arahant's mind, because they have to do the day-to-day work as well.
You can try to become one very soon, and and know it for yourself. But some idea I will give you what my teacher also used to tell me. Now, even if you get some samadhi, concentration power, you will begin to see these objects little like from far away, like from a little distance, right? It will happen like that. Now, even if you get some equanimity or some strength of mind, because our desires make too much like involved, like they look so real. So when the desire is less and less, then you will either get it by samadhi or wisdom, panya. So if you get it by samadhi, these things will look, you're more observing. You're not involved in it mentally. You understand? That will happen. So with the wisdom, if you're talking about like, I'm sure who is practicing on the path, these experiences will be like little more from like far away, not like from a distance. It will become more distance. They're able to like what they'll be watching it through the samadhi, or even if they're contemplating enough, like they are not very involved. Some idea. But in the suttas, it's nice to see like one the brother of Sariputta, when the snakes were bitten, how he said to pick the body up, and he was so much seeing that, like another chair or something. That much detachment. And okay, so I don't want to stay. I'm very afraid of this hero nun, because time goes, maybe I hope you not get this, this Migraine thing. Because luckily, I'm happy that, but you did the right thing. You just stay there in the room or whatever, do the thing. Because the operation will be happening everywhere. It's a karma operation I told long time ago. These retreats have that thing. So, take die on. Yeah, someone. It's the best place, I think. Yeah, yeah, you're very right. Normally, it's on going on a pilgrimage to, they say, they go to heaven when you're going to Buddha Gaya or somewhere. Buddha has told that also, people have belief in that. So I also think dying during a retreat would be, I think, of course, you would like to stay more to do more retreats. That's the only thing. Otherwise, But at least this should prepare you for that one day. And this should be a biggest tool. So anything, no? Yeah, yeah. After lunch, okay. By lunch. That means I will meet for like I will what was it, Dana, no? Dana. Then after that I might come one time. I don't need to come now. Actually, normally in Sri Lanka I'm out now, out of the compound from yesterday maybe. So doesn't matter. I might be here. I might come okay in the morning. And then we don't have Pindapat, I have Dana. One time I might try to come, okay? Before Dana, maybe, yeah. Dana is like, okay, yeah, before Dana. Then you'll also have food and then it's finished. Oh, me? That will say, okay. Let's see, morning, 3 o'clock tomorrow, okay? And I might meet suddenly after 6 o'clock. Or I don't know. We'll see, okay? For the organizers, it's a big problem. They're always waiting now, long time. Sorry, I'm very sorry. Because of your saddha, I'm taking the advantage. Yes, really, other times I've been made sure. Now I'm just like in the jungle. No, it has been good for me also, because I was in a busy kind of thing. And those days I was like this long time, but I need it. So I can charge from within me, that thank you, much merit to all of you. But I don't think that I should come. I have your what you did already. My teacher met only twice. After 2 days, I met him. He, like same things. Every 2 days, I used to meet him. That's all. And he already gave. He never even read like this. Told to read this section. That's it. Mhm. So that will happen like that. It's not I'm coming and this thing. This is all spoon feeding. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Then he told me maybe some karma in the past. When I told my experience, then he told me actually what he said after that was read Satipatthana Sutta, everything will be okay. And I forget that in the room. Then only I got across the other suttas, especially Mahastipada Upana Sutta. I didn't read the Satipatthana Sutta. That came through physics actually. This physics something I would have practiced that just came up. Because it was with the Anitya, with that, it was also looking at causes, very interesting, cause effect. So all to do with cause and effect. You have to, when you're studying like that, only this impermanent perception will come. So that's why you have to just take those links one by one. One day, if you're always doing this, that will happen one day in a very unexpected moment. And so good luck to all of you. Okay. Wish you all the strength and blessings on this path and all the good karma you have accumulated. Especially think of your parents, relations, and all the protective deities who have protected you to do these things, kept you on the good path, and everybody who has supported you, teachers and all elders from a young age, wherever they are reborn or whatever place, wherever they are, may they get a share of this good karma. Especially think of it, the especially the four protective deities, the king of gods, Sakra, and Sampati Brahmadi Virajan, highest Sampati who is to come, and he's still there, no doubt. And even Buddha's mother should be there in the Tavatimsa. It's only a few minutes, or I don't know, 2006, in those planes, who are protecting this asana too. Great yogis, divine beings. May they get a share of this merit. And crores of devatas, brahmas, Tistum Kotya, Devitan, Brahmavaru, Brahmarajavaru, Naga Nagin, ಶಿವರು ಮುನಿವರು ಸಿದ್ಧಲ್ಲ ಗಂಧರು ದೇವಸೇನಾಧಿಪತಿವರು ಸಿರದ ನಾಟಮೆ ಪುಣ್ಯಶಕ್ತಿ ಜ್ಞಾತಿ ನೈಚ್ಚಿಕನಿಗೆ ಜ್ಞಾತಿಯಿಂದ ಸಿರ ಸತ್ತಲೋಕಿಂದ. There's hardly any being who has not been your relations. Therefore, from the lowest worlds to the highest worlds, may they get a share of these merits. And all seen and unseen beings who are perfecting these teachings, who are still developing noble virtues, may they also get strength, get a share of these merits. And all human beings, especially in this country and other countries, may they get a share of this wisdom, knowledge, the compassionate aim of the Buddha may be accomplished. His blessings to the whole planet, to all human beings. Get a chance, inspiration to follow the great master, get solace and peace from that, come to a state of complete happiness within them. Not only human beings, animals, from the lowest worlds, the lowest suffering worlds, get a human birth and practice. And the Devatas and the Brahmalokas, may they all get a share of these merits to come to peace, permanence and happiness in this life. Sobhatitva, Kimviditva, Vansvanapatva, Sansara Perapim Matviditva. Your parents, relations, teachers, family members, neighbors, their working places, colleagues, bosses, all of them get a share and strength to come out of suffering. May you be an example. Your behavior, your very presence, not by talking, telling anyone something, but your very internal health, internal peace. This will be a very important strength for everybody to come out of suffering. Especially, I must remind my teacher and my ordination teachers and all other teachers, even in foreign countries, those days inspired me as a young boy. They knew something that I am searching for something, and they encouraged me. And I hope wherever they are, may they get a share of these merits. So many people help me, the hikers, the organizers. Even now, they are like giants here in Sri Lanka. The countries too, well-wishing. Swami Man says, work whatever he's trying to do, and the divine beings directly involved, especially in the world's higher worlds, they get a special share of all these merits and giving me opportunity to do this service to the human beings. So grateful to all of them. I wish your protection, especially Buddha's infinite paramitas for many lives, be a protection to your lives. That infinite power will protect you to keep you on the path, not deviate into any material thing. Seeing the gravity of this world and being constantly inspired. Spend your time, never wasting a minute on anything, just spending your time frivolously. I hope you'll get that determination and willpower. So to develop wholesome states, be a strength to others by your very way of life. May that be a strength to all of you. All the merits and tapasya or meditations I have done all these years, all this time, this life and many lives back to transfer to all of you, your families and all human beings, all others.